Hello everybody. I was not sure that I was going to make a video today. I have huge decisions to make. My channel appears to be shadow banned and manipulated, and it appears that there is some power and influence behind some of the harassment, which is not too bad in my case, or should I rather say it is not as frequent as some others get it. But when it does come, it comes with threats and this kind of pressure. Anyway, I'll also say this. It does appear as if there are forces, maybe YouTube itself, or YouTube influenced by power players, who are doing this to smaller channels, maybe to get rid of us. It certainly does appear that YouTube has lost sight of its original purpose, namely to give the small man, the public, a voice. It is clear that eventually only the really big celebrity channels and mainstream media channels like Fox and Sky will survive. And as the current mainstream media dies off, the likes of YouTube will take over and become the new mainstream media. Anyway, I'm not going to tell how I could see certain things or how I found out about it, but it does appear as if the unwelcome interference is coming from the United Kingdom. For now, I am going to keep what I can see to myself. Maybe they will see this and go away, or otherwise the war is on. But in the meantime, I also need to see to my responsibilities and life. For now, I am going to keep what is going on with me and the channel and my household to myself. And I'll take some time, until sometime next week maybe, to decide on certain things, and I will chat to you then. In the meantime, it is straight talk rant time. Now let's start with the most obvious at the moment. Sarah, Andrew and Epstein. And no, this time I am not going to stand up and wave the flag for Sarah or Andrew. Because you know what? There comes a point where even the most empathetic has had enough. Now, the story in short goes like this. When Epstein was charged and convicted in 2008, Sarah made a big stink and said that she regretted ever having anything to do with Epstein. She said that her involvement with Epstein was a gigantic error of judgment. And she said that what he did was wrong, and for which he was rightly jailed, which means she knew what Epstein was charged with and jailed for. Yet in 2011, she sent that same man, Epstein, an email stating that he had always been a steadfast, generous and supreme friend to her and her family. She also said that she humbly apologized to him and knew that he would feel, and I quote, hellishly let down by her. So, at this point, it does not matter whether Andrew ever touched a minor or underage girl. The entire point is that they knew what Epstein was doing. I mean, clearly. And they did nothing. Not only did they do nothing about it, but they remained friends with him. So yes, for me, this email from Sarah was absolutely the last straw. I still do not think Andrew partook of anything younger than the now deceased Virginia. And I'm still of the opinion that most of the girls we have seen and who had actually spoken out knew exactly what was going on. And most, I'm not saying all, but most of them went back to Epstein voluntarily, time and time again. But obviously, there was underage sex, underage drinking, etc., etc. going on. Clearly, there was a whole lot of debauchery going on. Whatever the rich guy wanted, Epstein provided. And for me, it is now clear that Sarah and Andrew knew about it all. I'm not saying they partook in any of it. I'm saying they knew about it. I still wanted to believe that Andrew was naive and did not believe all the charges against his friend. But now I know I was the one who was naive. And this may sound so stupid, but how a woman and a mother could be so devious and so cold about a child, whether it's your own child or not, is indeed beyond me. Although I'm not a fan of cancel culture, I feel that the 7 charities who had distanced themselves from her in the past few days did the right thing. Because this is unfortunately a rather disgusting connection which could or would cheapen any relationship, business, charity, or otherwise. I'm not saying it will harm it per se, or that Sarah is dangerous in any way, or that she will negatively influence anyone. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it will cheapen the charity, the business, or whatever. And I'm going to explain more about that a little further on. It appears that Prince Philip was right about both Sarah and Meghan. Anyway, now we get to the next dilemma facing the royal family. But first, I found something interesting which I did not know about before. Did you guys know about a law titled, and I'm going to try and pronounce it correctly, but there are no guarantees. Okay, it is called Lese Majesty. It's spelled Lese-Majeste with a dash on the E. They also, in America, they write it Leez and then Majesty with a Y. Anyway, Lese Majesty is an offence committed against the dignity of a monarch, a ruling head of state, or the state itself. Now, basically what this is a variation of the defamation law. Or if certain things were said and done in public, it can also lead to or be charged instead of incitement to public disorder. You see, treason can only be charged if someone is a traitor to his sovereign, his ruling head of state, i.e. a president, or his country itself. So suddenly I was wondering whether perhaps that is why Meghan Markle does not want to set foot on British soil again. Was she threatened with being charged with Lese Majesty if she ever leaves the airport in Britain? Well, I mean, it is speculation, but it is certainly very interesting because she has said more than enough to charge her with this. Hey, and I mean, it can carry a sentence of up to 15 years. Anyway, forget about that for a while. We were just talking about Sarah and Andrew and their ongoing Epstein saga. So let's look at the next stain on the monarchy. Yes, it is indeed Harry and Meghan. I mean, who else? We have spoken and spoken about all the issues pertaining to Harry, Meghan and their children. over and over and over again. The issues pertaining to the two children's birth are still not solved or sorted out. And Archie is closer to 7 than 6, and Lily is way past 4 and heading to 5. So tell me, when is the king, his courtiers, and or his government to say, enough, done, DNA and proper paperwork or no titles for those children? And please note, I've got nothing against the children, but I absolutely stand for the laws that apply to everyone else. Yes, everybody is singing the king's praises because he said no half in and half out. Well, I put that in a video before I even caught up on the day's news. Well, he had no choice. There would have been instant backlash had he told Harry it would be okay to come and do duties 5 times per year. And the backlash would have been from his own courtiers and not just the public. The king also did not have the guts to tell Harry so to his face. No, the courtiers had to release this via the media. I have no idea how long it is still going to take, but I know Harry lied on his visa application regarding his drug use. Harry should have been deported last year already, but no, he received preferential treatment. And why? In exchange for big donation to Biden's daughter's charity. You see, when it comes to people of a certain ilk, everything has a price. Loyalty, friendship, sex, and visas can all be bought. Am I right, Harry? Am I right, Charles? Because don't forget, Charlie Boy also handed out honours, visas, and citizenship for money. Remember Dr. Bin Mahfouz? So why would you expect any different from Harry? And while we are at it, don't forget about Charlie Boy and Savile and Ball and Van der Post. So, I mean, why would we expect any different from his younger brother? Anyway, so we have Harry, who admitted in his book that he nearly had his father killed, who did nothing and said nothing when his family and his country were portrayed as being racist. Oh, he told the reporter, we never said that. The media did. No, Harry, you and your wife did say so. You indicated it numerous times. You did not argue against it when other people said it. We have Harry, who even went so far as to discuss his own and his brother's, future monarchs, todgers. The truth is that Harry is not bright, although I do not think he is completely stupid either. Harry is one of those people who may not be academically very clever, but he is very sly, very manipulative, and as rude as he can also be extremely charming. And all of this makes him a very, very dangerous man. Add to that the fact that he can and has abused alcohol and drugs, and he could possibly be capable to do unmentionable things. Then there's Meghan. She too is not as intelligent as she pretends to be, or she would like us to believe, but she's also not entirely stupid either. She is a complete and utter narcissist, a habitual liar, extremely manipulative, not exactly honest, and I'm not talking about her lying. I'm talking about walking out with a pair of Aquazzura shoes kind of thing. of these two, I can say that they are like a school break. There is indeed no class, none whatsoever, as common as ground, as thick as planks, and I can think of a few more things to say, but we are on YouTube at the moment. Now, if the monarchy was a $30,000 white designer dress, then Harry and Meghan would be a red wine stain in the crotch area or a huge chocolate stain on the arse. The fact that they've been allowed to run roughshod over the monarch for more than 7 years, the fact that they both lied and lied and lied and did not care about the effects of their lies on other people, have likely committed a crime or two along the way. I mean, yes, to lie on your visa application is indeed a crime, and are still on the royal family website is indeed not an oversight or an oopsie. No, abso-fucking-lutely not, because they could very quickly remove the Duchess of Kent, change things to reflect her death. So once again, the palace is lying to us and gaslighting us. Now, neither Andrew nor Harry nor their wives are any credit to the monarchy. Meghan may be quarter black, and Sarah may truly have a good heart, for all we know. That all may be so, but respect and loyalty and trust and love and all those things we had for the monarchy years ago requires far more. It requires respect for the public and a general attitude of grace and trustworthiness, which incidentally and very unfortunately the king himself does not have either. The rot indeed starts from the top. Charles cannot separate the monarchy or himself from Andrew and Sarah, because that will mean that he will have to do the exact same thing to Harry and Meghan, and he does not want to do that. Yes, I had it confirmed to me that Charles wants Harry back. And you may be surprised at the reason that was given to me, because it's not about the monarchy or anything else anymore. It is about winning. And King Charles has to win at all costs. I mean, tell me why you think Frogmore Cottage is still vacant. Because Charles wanted Andrew to move in there? Yes. Yes, because he wanted to offer Royal Lodge to Harry and Meghan. The proverbial carrot in front of the donkey's nose. I ask you, could it possibly be? Anyway, the other reason he does not want to remove Andrew and Harry completely from the website is because he knows full well that the day he does that, more people than just me will bring up his own history with Savile Ball and Van der Post, his extramarital affairs, etc., etc. Remove Harry and more people will start to talk about the Dimbleby book, the manoeuvres around some of Charles's charities, one of which he had to close down a couple of years ago, and other financial inconsistencies and the 5 companies registered in his name. So yes, I fully believe that William has had it, that he is beyond fed up, and I really do not blame him. But according to other YouTubers, William's pressure on his father goes as far as Andrew and Sarah, and that should not be. If Andrew goes, then Harry should go too, and if Sarah goes, so should Meghan, and if they all go, then so should Charles. If anyone wants to clean up the monarchy, then do a proper job. And that must be done from the top to the bottom. There are no second chances anymore. Charles has to abdicate. If he does not want to start the cleanup process himself, then he must abdicate. Because I'm going to stick my neck out and say the only two reasons why the very slim majority still wants a monarchy is, number one, they are waiting for William and Catherine to be king and queen, and number two, because they've never lived in a republic, because they are afraid of what a change like this may bring. And for that, I certainly don't blame any Brit, any citizen of Britain at the moment. I mean, imagine Uncle Sadiq Khan as president. I think it would be worse than we here in South Africa had in Jacob Zuma. So I know my voice is a slim one in the wilderness, but if I was held at gunpoint and forced to give my opinion, I would say, in no particular order, out with Harry and his wife and children, and out with Andrew and even maybe his children. Okay? I don't think there would be any issue with Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, moving up a number of places. I think if anybody, he deserves it most. He gets very little recognition for what he's actually doing. And I said it the other day, out of all the Queen's children, Edward reminds me most of the Queen's father. So there you have it. That is my opinion. It's not the whole story. I cannot even begin to tell you the stuff I've been receiving over the past, I would say, week, 2 weeks. But it's all of such a nature that I have to rethink and overthink a lot of the things and find the right way to put it out on, say, YouTube. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry about my absence yesterday. I needed a bit of time. I needed time to myself. But I will see you again tomorrow, and we will continue this particular conversation. So until then, please take good care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.